Welcome to Pasadena Monthly. I'm your host, Justin Chapman. Thanks for being here, and happy Latino Heritage Month. After taking a look at what's been going on in Pasadena this past month, we'll speak with our guest, Karen Hofmann, the first female president and CEO of ArtCenter. But before we get started, let's check out these Pasadena media news briefs.
As in many cities in Los Angeles County, homelessness continues to be a pressing concern. The root causes have proven difficult to resolve, but Manuel Carmona, Acting Director of Public Health, asserted that the Pasadena Outreach Response Team has shown promising results by engaging, assessing, and linking people experiencing homelessness to resources and services. Since July 2019 to August 2023, PORT has produced notable results, including helping 76 community members transition to housing, supporting 109 people enroll in detox and rehabilitation programs, completing or facilitating transportation to 496 appointments for clinical care, and responding to 1,044 police dispatch calls related to people experiencing homelessness. PORT welcomes direct referrals from the community and encourages residents to contact the program if they see someone in need of support. Call 626-604-6693. PORT responds Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Dr. Parveen Kaur has been contracted to serve as backup health officer and tuberculosis physician for the city of Pasadena. She will serve as interim health officer while Pasadena Public Health Director and Health Officer Dr. Yingying Go extends her participation in the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Health Policy Fellow Program through January 2024. Pasadena Public Health Department is excited to have Dr. Kaur as our interim health officer, said Acting Public Health Director Manuel Carmona. Her familiarity with the department operations and expertise in the field of infectious disease prevention and control will be valuable as we contend yet another COVID-19 uptick in cases and other emerging public health concerns. Pasadena Water and Power is expanding its energy portfolio with more solar power. PWP is one of 3 community-owned utilities participating in a 20-year contract with the Southern California Public Power Authority for the purchase of solar energy from EDF Renewable North America. The agreement is for 117 megawatts of solar energy generated by the Sapphire Solar Project, which will be located in Riverside County. 1/3 of the capacity generated by the project will be received by Pasadena beginning December 31st, 2026.
Let's turn next to our lightning round of news updates. 1. Pasadena's Transportation Director, Laura Rubio Cornejo, has accepted a new position with the City of Los Angeles. She is now the General Manager of LA's Transportation Department. Since starting in Pasadena in 2019, she helped negotiate and secure the relinquishment of the 710 stub, secure $230 million in Metro Measure R mobility improvement project funds, adopt the city's zero-emission bus plan, complete the Union Street protected bikeway, and more. The City of Pasadena will now begin looking for a new transportation director as the 710 stub planning process gets underway. 2. Pasadena's Rental Housing Board passed a resolution requiring landlords to provide tenants relocation assistance and services if they are displaced by no-fault evictions and excessive rent increases. The new regulations are effective immediately and apply to tenants evicted due to necessary repairs, owner move-in, or the permanent withdrawal of the unit from the rental market and government order. The rental board also released forms that tenants can use to request rent rollbacks if their landlords have not done so under the new law. Those forms are available on the city's website. The rental board is also moving forward with its proposal to become a city department. The board and landlord-tenant law experts will host 2 virtual workshops on October 17th and 18th at 6:30 p.m. for landlords and tenants to learn about their rights and responsibilities under Measure H. 3. The City of Pasadena recently hosted a bus tour of the 710 stub as part of the Reconnecting Communities 710 Advisory Group, where group members and community members saw the property and learned about the planning process. The city recently contracted with consulting firm Point C, which helped guide the city through the 710 stub relinquishment process, and hired Wendy Macias as the 710 Senior Project Manager, and will soon hire a historian to produce a report about the history of the freeway and the displacement that took place. Macias is a Pasadena resident and has more than 20 years of planning and public works experience. She will remain with the city until the project is completed. Next month, the city will provide a project update to the California Transportation Commission. 4, the City Council has decided to establish a Citizen Charter Reform Task Force to study and recommend amendments to the city's charter, which is the city's governing document. The task force will study council vacancies, compensation, family care benefits, term limits, vice mayoral appointments, and the timing of the mayoral election in relation to council district elections. The council itself will study more technical amendments, such as revisions to the annual light and power fund transfer, increases to procurement limits which don't require council approval, and making corrections to the charter. Any amendments to the charter must be approved by Pasadena voters. The city is aiming to put any recommended amendments on the 2024 ballot. 5, Caltech and the Carnegie Institution for Science have signed an agreement to collaborate on life sciences research initiatives, including genomics, global ecology, and planetary dynamics. Carnegie will move many of its life environmental scientists to Pasadena in a new state-of-the-art research facility. Those scientists will study climate change, global hunger, sustainable energy, biodiversity loss, and the origins of life on Earth. Pasadena is quickly becoming a hub for bioscience research, with many prestigious institutions opening or expanding labs here in the city. 6, Congressmember Adam Schiff spoke at the recent meeting of the One Arroyo Foundation, which is raising money and advising the city on improving the Arroyo Seco, completing a 3.5-mile trail project from the Colorado Street Bridge to Devil's Gate Dam, and restoring the Parker Mayberry Bridge. The foundation recently selected RJM Design Group to consult on these projects. Schiff provided an update on the Rim of the Valley Corridor Preservation Act, which would add more than 191,000 acres to the Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area, and talked about adding the Arroyo. 7, the city has identified a tentative location for a bad weather shelter and is now waiting for proposals from shelter operators. Since the pandemic began, the city has utilized federal, state, and county grant funds on weather-activated motel vouchers in lieu of a bad weather shelter. The city is seeking proposals from qualified nonprofit entities to operate 12-hour overnight and 24-hour winter shelter programs. Meanwhile, the city's housing department received over $2 million in new funding under the California Encampment Resolution Grant Program, which will fund 7 programs, including street outreach, motel vouchers, and housing navigation for up to 50 people per year who are living in 10 prioritized encampments along the 210 and 134 freeways. 8, the city has hired a new director of the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department, former Pasadena resident and longtime Glendale Parks and Recreation Director, Coco Panashian. He will begin the new position on October 2nd. In Glendale, he directs all aspects of park operations and planning, managing 46 park and recreation facilities, creating and overseeing programming, and providing support to cultural and arts programs and personnel. 9, the Pasadena Unified School District Board of Education has contracted with Leadership Associates to help with the search for PUSD's next superintendent, including conducting an online survey and gathering input from students, staff, and parents. The position description will be posted in January, and the application deadline will be March 15th. The board will then review submitted applications, select candidates to be interviewed on April 11th, and conduct interviews on April 27th. The new superintendent is expected to begin July 1st next year. Meanwhile, the school board chose to prioritize 3 schools with Measure O funds totaling more than $500 million. Madison Elementary, Longfellow Elementary, and Muir High School, and it still has to determine if and how the remaining schools will receive sorely needed facilities upgrades and educational technology improvements amidst the backdrop of declining enrollment. For one example, if San Rafael Elementary does not receive major repairs soon, it might have to be closed, meaning there will be no public schools in West Pasadena. And 10, the Huntington Library, Art Museum, and Botanical Gardens has commissioned local artist Betty Saar to create a large-scale, site-specific work called Drifting Toward Twilight, which will feature a 17-foot-long vintage wooden canoe and found objects, including bird cages, antlers, and natural materials harvested by Saar from the Huntington's 207-acre grounds. The exhibition will open November 11th in the Virginia Steele Scott Galleries of American Art and remain on view for 2 years. Then the work will become a permanent part of the Huntington's American Art Collection. Saar is an influential pioneer of Black feminist art who has created assemblage works exploring themes of racial oppression, mysticism, the occult, family, memory, and identity over a 6-decade career. Let's patch in our guest, Karen Hofmann, President and CEO of ArtCenter College of Design. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Justin, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Karen Hofmann is an educator and industrial designer and the first woman alumna and provost to serve as ArtCenter's president. Prior to being named provost, she served as chair of ArtCenter's product design department and taught at the college. She also graduated from ArtCenter with a degree in product design. So having attended and taught at ArtCenter and now serving as president, how has the college changed over that time?
Well, in some ways, dramatically. In other ways, the core and the essence is still the same. I think really, when I was here in the mid-90s as a product design student, the experience was very different because we had just this one campus here on the hillside in Pasadena. And it was a remarkable, very family-oriented experience. This is before laptops, this is before cell phones. So we spent a lot of time here because all the tools and all the equipment we needed was here. So it's very different than today's world where students are able to really work from anywhere and faculty are able to work from anywhere. And we have online programs. And so, it's just a very different kind of experience here. And now we have two campuses. So we've had two campuses for almost 20 years. And so our South Campus down on Raymond and Glenarm down there is going through a major expansion, which I know we'll touch on a little bit later. But really the curriculum and the focus of an ArtCenter education, the essence of it being very industry driven, really preparing you for professional careers, that's the same. And amazing faculty that come in and teach, that carries on from generation to generation. But the expectations of what artists and designers are doing today and what they're expected to come out into the field with is very different. And I always talk about this every time I take somebody through our gallery here, or when we go through the grad shows that we have at the convention center, is just the tools and the amount of knowledge and just so many factors that artists and designers have in front of them, that they have these creative tools to navigate and at their fingertips. So it's a very different kind of expectation for them to go into the world with that much knowledge and access to technology and tools. It's really exciting.
So they have to have skills in lots of different areas and have a diverse portfolio.
Diverse portfolio. And also too, Justin, I think a big shift is beyond just that discipline that you study into. And, ArtCenter has always been known for this very conservatory spirit, very portfolio driven. Even coming in, you pick one major, whether it's illustration or graphics or photography or film, and that's what you do. And that's kind of how it used to be. That's what was expected. Now you've got to have this very sort of interdisciplinary experience. You've got to be able to know a little bit about business. You have to know a little bit about manufacturing. You have to really know about research. So and other disciplines outside of your own. And everything is very interdisciplinary these days, which makes it that much more fascinating and challenging for all of our students.
And how's ArtCenter doing coming out of the pandemic? Is there like hybrid, remote, in-person approach now?
Yes. So, silver linings, and there are a few that I'm really proud of during our time during the pandemic, because as an institution of creatives, I would say we really did come together at a time we needed to the most, which was, we are tactile people. We have tangible things that we make and do, whether it's painting or drawing or making shops or making models in the shops. All of that, gets shut down, right, for those 2 years. So instead, the things that we really tried to do while we were apart from each other was reinvent the studio experience. That's really what we're built upon here. So we really did do some interesting things, like send out packages to all of our faculty. It was called Studio in a Box. So, 3 camera shoots, great audio, a way to sort of show the experience of a painting or making something or sewing something, so that the students could get that kind of studio experience on Zoom. It really worked. And coming back into the full in-person experience, we realized that there are classes that work better online. So all the digital fabrication tools that we have, whether it's Photoshop, whether it's even things like Gravity Sketch, all the 3D modeling software, all of that works so much better in Zoom because that's the tools in which we are using all the time.
Mhm.
So a lot of those things, whether it's in our gaming program, entertainment, illustration, you name it, the processing classes, we just kept them online. The students were doing better.
Wow.
But, inherently the things that we really needed to be here for, which is not just making things, but really getting our community back, really getting our campus alive again and having those creative conversations and having a creative culture again. It is so great to be back. So that's definitely how the nature of ArtCenter got disrupted, but what we got was some silver linings. And we also created the first online degree program. It's a 1-year Master's of Design. We have one in interaction design and one in brand and strategy. And those are doing great. We just graduated our first cohort in the summer. So again, our first programs ever where you're an ArtCenter student and you don't step foot in Pasadena.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's something new, and we're really happy to see those kinds of new models emerging.
And you're hosting events again on campus?
Yes. In fact, we have a really great event coming up called Creative Tech Week, October 5th through the 7th here in the Amundsen Auditorium. We did Creative Tech Week while we were online. Actually, it was actually born from being online because we really wanted to give our students access to industry and leaders, whether they're at Google or Amazon or Apple. But this time we're in person. We've got some pretty amazing speaker lineup, including Henrik Fisker, who's one of our alums who has his own automotive brand, electric vehicles now. Idris Sandhu, who's done amazing work in the UX UI space and tech access to technology space. So it's going to be a really great event. We just celebrated our amazing Sid Mead, who was our visual futurist. If you all saw Blade Runner, all of the things that were designed, the vehicles, the architecture, that was Sid Mead. He passed several years ago, but we just did a little bit of an alumni gathering, a little bit of a film festival for him just a few weeks ago. And we got to celebrate other things like Keith Haring. We did not really know this, but back in 1989, when Keith Haring was here on our campus, just prior to his unfortunate death, Keith was just one of those magnificent artists of the time of the 80s. With all of his murals, all of his graffiti art, he was just had such impact at that time. We were able to have him come here and paint a mural right above the Amundsen Auditorium, if you've been to our campus before, right next to our library. And we never really realized until this current show that's happening right now and closing soon down at the Broad, which is looking at all of Keith Haring's work. We didn't know that we were the only mural in Los Angeles that he painted.
Wow.
So it's something quite special. And we brought together the head of the Haring Foundation, Keith Haring's sister, and the curator at the Broad, along with some alumni who were here and influenced by his work. And we had a really wonderful gathering to celebrate Keith, his impact on our community and the art and design community at large. So it's great to have these things back here at ArtCenter.
Absolutely. Yeah, that show is really good. And
I'm glad you saw it, Justin. It's pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah, my wife has always loved Keith Haring, and so it was a surprise birthday present for her to go down there. And
that's a great birthday.
She also went to ArtCenter, and so it's
yes, of course,
the mural at ArtCenter as well.
Yeah.
And let me ask about the South Campus master plan on Raymond Avenue. Tell us about the vision for that area and what the current timeline looks like for those projects.
Yeah, very exciting. And for those of you that have driven down Raymond or Glen Arm recently, or even on the Arroyo side, but really on the Raymond side, you can see the wind tunnel building, 950 Raymond. And, that's really the major transformation. It's taken us years to get there. But that is the soon-to-be home of the Mullen Transportation Design Center. And that was really based on a very generous gift from Peter and Maura Mullen for us to actually have that space come to life. So we've spent the last year and a half really bringing to life what we've been dreaming about for a long time, is really a future home for what the future of mobility, transportation, vehicles, automation, technologies, human experience, what all of those different kinds of approaches to moving people around this world. We have got a pretty incredible space that's opening up. We also have our Hyundai Kia Genesis Group lab that they've sponsored, which is all about the virtual reality. It's a dedicated room on digital technologies. That's right there. And then we have our new shops. So this is the one that's just north of the wind tunnel. It's a prefab building. You might be seeing all the sides going up right now. And that's our home to our South Campus shops. So for those of you that may have been here on our Hillside campus, our shops are like the heartbeat of the campus. And we have all of the hand making, the wood making, all of the analog machines, but also all of the emerging technology, rapid prototyping, 3D printing, CNCs, laser cutting, all those things. Well, now we're going to have a shop that has those tools as well for our South Campus. So we're really excited to be seeing that come to life by the end of this year. In the spring, stay tuned. You'll be hearing about some grand openings and some great events for the Pasadena community to come take a look at what the future is going to be looking like at ArtCenter. The other thing is, I'm sorry, Jess. The other thing I wanted to touch on too is our master plan. Yeah, our master plan is really exciting because we are post-pandemic really re-looking at everything right now and how to maximize the usage of our spaces. But really, the wonderful thing about the South Campus is its relationship to the community and to the Gold Line. And so we're just really excited to be revisiting what community looks like down at our South Campus when all this construction is completed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that whole area has been a long time coming and in progress for so long. So it'd be great to see it come to fruition. You mentioned the virtual reality aspect. A hot topic right now, of course, is AI. Do higher ed institutions like ArtCenter see AI as an opportunity or a threat or both? Is it something artists can use in their work, or is it something that should be kept out of the academic space?
Justin, this is definitely the hot topic of the year for sure for our community of artists and designers, not just here at ArtCenter, but our alumni and all of our industry partners. I think for us and the way that we've been approaching it through various conversations, whether we've had forums that our faculty have organized because we're taking it head on, which is we know this is a tool. This is a toolbox. We see it more optimistically as really efficiencies and a creative tool set that will allow designers and artists to really expand their horizons and look at how they're working. Their workflows are going to change a little bit to hopefully their advantage. But at the same time, we're very mindful of the ethics. There's a lot to sort out when it comes to intellectual property. There's a lot to sort out. Where do these images come from? Who owns them? Where does ownership get transferred over? And there's a lot of ethical questions around that. So we're tackling it. We're integrating it. A lot of what we really always want to make sure that happens here at ArtCenter is that we have an experience, an academic experience, an educational experience that's really grounded in foundation skills. So no matter what happens, whatever kind of tool technology comes our way, the foundations of really learning how to draw, learning how to make things, learning how to take an idea that you might have into realization in whatever form that might be, whether it's a photograph, a model, a film, an advertisement, a vehicle. that creativity, that ownership of the creative process is really, we always drive that home. And so there's a lot more we're going to figure out as we move through this new world of AI, but it's one I think everybody's kind of getting more excited about than more fearful.
Mhm.
There was a lot more fear several months ago. Now everyone's kind of getting excited.
Yeah. And we see with the writers strike that they, that they're tackling that issue head on and setting some foundation for what those agreements will look like. So it's certainly going to change a lot of things, but it's certainly also an opportunity for all aspects of society.
Yep, that's for sure.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time and talking to us about ArtCenter's work and the upcoming events. Check out the tech event coming up in October. So thank you so much.
Well, Justin, thank you. And, we're always going to be down at the convention center at the end of the term. So December we'll be there. We'd love for everybody to come join us.
For the graduate art
grad show. Yep.
Great.
So more to come on that. And Justin, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Before we go, here is this month in Pasadena history. It was this month in 1926 when the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce conducted a survey of residents to see whether to advocate for more industry in the city or to advocate for maintaining Pasadena's residential quality. A September 7th, 1926 LA Times article read, quote, "One group contends that Pasadena's greatest attraction would lie in making it primarily a home and resort city, catering to tourists in a large measure. Others believe that a greater future for Pasadena demands that basic industrial development take place, bringing with it people and money. Still another group asserts that a proper balance in the two schemes can be struck and that certain sections of the city which naturally lend themselves to industrial sites should be developed as much as possible along these lines, while the other parts of the city are given over to the beautiful residential districts for which the Crown City is famous," end quote. It goes to show that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And issues our forebears were grappling with a century ago, we're still grappling with today. Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of Pasadena Monthly. Tune in every fourth Friday of the month at 5 p.m. Learn more at pasadenamedia.org and justindouglaschapman.com. Drop me a line at jchapman@cityofpasadena.net. We'll see you next time.